find this some straight issues.
We did. Sunday, it was fun.
And nice down there.
It was perfect weather.
Sunday was really hot. A friend of mine down there just lived
On
terrible.
Sunday? Oh.
Saturday.
Oh, yeah, I was like, Sunday, I was chilly. I had to go buy a sweatshirt.
He said it was 90 something. It was hot. I said it was beautiful up here. We were overcast.
I don't know, they're cleaning out in-laws house, and I didn't know it'd be sweat that much.
Good morning. Well, before you sit down, guys, we're going to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Liz, that one is working, isn't it? Camera.
Oh, my.
Only about 4 minutes here. About a minute. Didn't see any mistakes.
You
Yeah.
did?
Yeah. No C.
Oh,
E.
yeah.
I wonder if it was that way last year then, off that one. I bet it was.
I'll second Gary's motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You do number 8.
We wanna wait till the sheriff comes in here.
Yeah, he's gonna, I think he's coming. in
He's
here
coming.
with all this.
We gotta talk about
You guys
it.
wanna look at it.
Oh.
Sure, I think that chair would adjust if you wanted to.
Oh.
A little low.
Oh, for a big guy, right? Thank you.
Just getting settled in.
Beautiful day, Steve. Oh, my goodness. That's a good part. All that they are, somewhere.
Morning, Sheriff.
Look at everybody.
Morning, sir.
What's that?
Wall. East of, that's the east
Norway.
Hey, Mark.
What did I give you?
How are you?
of. Give me Norway.
Pretty early call on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Too early.
We're gonna be okay.
Little Barb.
I just
set a land use hearing for Jeremy and Raquel Batham for Tuesday, September 13th at 9:15.
I'll make the motion that we set that public hearing for September 13th, 9:15 a.m. for Jeremy and Rachel Bassham.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, the sheriff's here, so we can go over to the law contract when you guys get done looking them over.
Good. How you doing? We haven't done this before. Good. I'm waiting for Ron. They got a sheriff and you're going to fire too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you sit down, wait your turn.
Hey Ron, how you doing today?
Make a motion that we approve the law enforcement contracts for both Keystone and
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let me make sure Ron signed both of those. One
Aye.
of them I don't think he did.
Sign.
Maybe I got it. Did I catch it last week?
Your signature on that one, sir. And if you can let them, Tracy, please. Thank you.
Ron, you wanna put a plug in for your hirees?
Yes, Brandon Hudson had been a full-time employee in the past, went to work for the Department of Corrections in Anamosa, and been over a year, and he's decided he'd like to come back here. Haley Pringle, has been a part-time employee, has her training completed. We'd like to move her to full-time. And Owen Anson, would like to start out as a part-time employee.
That resolution.
The full-time ones.
Make the motion that we would hire full-time correction officers Haley Pringle, that's how it's pronounced, and Brendan Hudson as full-time correction officers.
Second. All in favor, and it's by resolution.
Kramer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
It's taken a long time, but we're getting very close to being up to staff in the jail. just in time because we have brought in, I think right now we have 11 federal inmates.
11?
They called us. Sure.
Also, he's got for a part-time correction officer, Owen Hanson. And I make a motion that we approve that.
Second.
All in favor on that one?
Aye.
Aye. Bring it down to all time items. Except, well, we gotta wait for Myron on number 11.
Probably okay if Mark hands out his paperwork, isn't he?
Yeah.
You have some paperwork you wanna hand out?
Pictures?
What?
No pictures?
Okay.
Darn it.
Thank you.
We're good, but. That's right. Did good.
Actually, there is one.
What do you do have pictures?
Yeah.
Always makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Need to move some chairs?
Oh, okay.
Ron, how many are you full up on your inmates? Or are you gonna get some more?
We've got enough where we're probably gonna bring in an extra person, during first and second shift. And then during the overnight, we won't need an extra person, but anything over 30, you got one person running it and one person in the control center. And you get 30 people and it takes 2 to run it.
These federal prisoners, are they local or are they from further away?
Yeah. They're from everywhere.
Go ahead and start, Mark.
Okay. You have an application for a change in land use from Ron Boyer, Boyer Farms. This Ron right over here. Ron, do you know all the board? Pretty much? Haley, our auditor, Casey Seaman, Gary Dershank, and Rick Turner. Ron submitted the application because he'd like to create a new home site on land that he owns. We're in section 9, right up here of 84-9, just west and north of Shelford. It's in the northeast quarter there. It's on the west side of 31st Avenue. It's slightly more than a half mile south of 62nd Street Trail. The address is there. It's 6301 31st Avenue, Shelford. Back in May, if you remember, I came on Ron's behalf. We actually did a variance to the subdivision ordinance. Ron had created a parcel C back in 2020 and did that with a farm exemption. Ron decided that he'd like to put a home on it, so I called for him to do a subdivision plat. The part of the plat of survey doesn't work at that point, so I asked you for variances to the subdivision ordinance, which you granted. So if indeed you approve this, he will go ahead and prepare that subdivision plat and have it brought before you for approval. This site is not in production. Soils here are sandy loam. As you can see by the aerial that I've attached with this application, in the north central part of the parcel where I placed an X, that soil type right there is really sandy and it's light. You can actually see it show up on that aerial there that it's not quite the same land as all around there. It carries a CSR of 35. Ron's known that. That's where he wanted to put this house. There's a new driveway there. It got put in last year. Randy Sherwood reports that it was done totally with compliance with Benton County's driveway resolution. There is also a new well there that was put there last year. That well was drilled for the purpose of watering trees. Ron's planting trees out on the site here. We will need to have a new septic system. Due to the soil types that is there, I don't foresee any issues with that septic system at all. The overall land use pattern in the area here is farms and other rural residences, several rural residences as you head north up towards 61st Street Lane. We notified 4 adjacent property owners, and of course legal notices were placed in the Benton County official newspaper. As far as this goes, it's a really straightforward request. Ron just wants to build a house here, actually a home and machine shed combination on the ground that he owns here. So I don't see any problem with it at all. Are there any questions? John, is there anything you want to add?
Make a motion that you approve the land use change. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thank you, Ron.
Ron, second,
Oh,
I'll sign that.
It's about 13 minutes, can I report this? You? Good deal.
thanks a lot.
Thank you. I met with DOT yesterday afternoon for LIDOC by me, what they're proposing to do with it. So I met with 3 landowners, the whole land around it. I don't agree with what they want to do with it. So basically, I guess it's up to us. I'm sure, did you get an email from the DOT about this project? Eric said he didn't either. But what they want to do, basically they want to fill dirt the way the Vaddock is right now, put dirt underneath it, all the way up to it, And then, I don't know, somehow between the dirt they build up and the deck, they wanna fill it up with cement. And then more or less walk away. I think they need to take the bridge out, close the highway down, cut the grade down, and shove that over in it.
And level it out.
Yeah.
Well, that sure makes sense, utilize what you've already got there. It's usually much less expensive, although if they're tearing the road out, I get that it's gonna be a large expense.
Yeah, they're thinking if they do the other way, they won't have to close the highway down.
You know, that section had been closed down for quite a spell while they were putting the intersection in, 30 and 218. So,
Basically, I guess we can put our 2 cents in. What they engineered so far is filling that in. They never engineered cutting it down.
Isn't that higher
We don't know.
where the viaduct is higher than the road?
There's 30 foot of grade and 32 foot of grade.
that elevation,
Yes.
part of that problem, I thought, was once you're at the top of that overpass, you know, some of that side wind created some issues, especially in wintertime.
It used to be cable, they had cables, if you remember, I-beams all the way along both sides, and of course they took them out. Said that wasn't safe.
Instead, they put them along Interstate 83.
I don't know, it's not in stone yet, you know what I mean, it's in the talking stage. And of course, they wanted to get it kind of lined up that they start on the year 24 on it. So, the time to comment now, what do they think of it, you know, and of course, the 3 landowners that was there at this meeting there, you know, they all said that, no, we just assume lower the road and shove it shut. So,
That's really what needs to be done.
Well, I mean, that's just common sense.
I got blueprints and all that stuff, what they want to do, look at it.
After the meeting, might take a look at this. That makes a lot of sense. Well, and again, I understand we wouldn't have to tear the road up, obviously. And then we go. Wow.
I think Clinton's like to have the seal back.
Well, the hill's just basically gonna go over me.
So they moved about 30, 40 acres out of his ground. I bet you they probably worked on
Well, I proposed it to this guy from the DOT, and he's a younger guy, but, you know, he can't make a decision for himself. You know, I kind of showed him that all 3 of the farmers that own land adjacent to that, you know, I asked him, I said, you want to lose more ground to make a pond, big ground out, to put underneath the viaduct? And all 3 of them said, no. Well, you know, it's one thing to say what they want to do, but I don't know where they're gonna get the, you know, nobody along close there, I don't believe will want to sell them any ground.
Yeah. You gotta come up with a fill somewhere. You know, by
But
the
I
time
can't
that-
believe they'd haul it from,
Well, and if you imagine trying to pack that down.
well, see, that's what I said, yeah, how you gonna pack it when you get up to the highway?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why they were gonna fill it in with concrete. Yeah, okay. Tell them just bring a helicopter and cut the cables, lift it off. Yeah, about the same.
It's, sounds like it's quite a ways away.
Well, 24, we'll be honest before we know it.
Right.
So, as far as it,
Well, I don't think they can, well, I don't know how we're gonna do that. With the Highway 30 project, that's not gonna be done. I don't think they're gonna even.
That'll be done.
Yeah, it might be by 24.
I'll say that should be about finishing up, this is starting.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but that bridge, or not the bridge, but the Blairstown intersection ain't supposed to be done till next summer sometime.
That's 23.
It's 23, about a year
Yeah.
ahead of.
Mark, you got some literature to hand out again?
Yeah, I've already done it.
Oh, you did already?
It snuck up on us.
And
This was one for last week.
go ahead, Mark.
This next application that we have comes from Donald and Diane Foltz. They currently live in Center Point. They'd like to change 2 acres of land to build a house and a shop. You can see by the attachments that I have with the application. They did a pretty nice job of showing you where that house and that shop are going to be on this parcel. We're located in section 2385-9 for this particular hearing. We're on the south side of 59th Street Trail. just to the west of the intersection of 59th Street Trail and 33rd Avenue. It's just east of land owned by Mark and Brenda Lipkeman. They are the current owners of this property. The Foltzes are in the process. They'd like to buy this, assuming that they can have their change in land use here. There's a total of 10.11 acres associated with this parcel. As I said, they just want to change the use of 2. If you look at the building site location sketch there, you can see that the house and the shop are going to sit back off of the road a ways. It's approximately 360 feet to the south. This land here is not in production. The soils are silt loam here, which is very common for this particular part of Benton County. The average CSR here is a 50. The site does need a new driveway. Randy has reviewed it. He reports that they can comply totally with the driveway resolution. Wouldn't be any problem whatsoever with the new driveway. This site will need a new well and septic system. Mr. Foltz has indicated that the well would be to the north of the house, septic system to the south. That's generally appropriate. I would mention, like I normally do with this particular soil type, though, there is a possibility this might not be a conventional system. Percolation rates in these soils are generally fairly slow, and it could end up being a sand filter system. The predominant land use pattern in this area is primarily what they want to do. Houses, acreages, all up and down 59th Street Trail there. Really, there isn't any farm next door to this or in the immediate vicinity. The closest one would be down to the west, the Fish's property. This land there that you see adjoining this is pretty much heavily forested. The terrain is fairly rough, so to speak. There's ponds and whatnot in the area. There is no cropland right next door, as I said, and there is no livestock. You go about a half a mile to the east and there are some hogs. We notified 8 adjacent property owners of this request, and of course placed legal notices in the newspapers of Benton County. We did not hear from any of them, none of them. So again, this is pretty straightforward. They'd like to put a house on this acreage, house and a shop actually, and it doesn't really present any problems. It's a good fit for that particular area.
I don't have any questions. I would second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks again for sending those.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
That's good enough for now.
No. You're just sitting there quiet.
Thank you. And welcome to Benton County.
Thank you, we're excited.
Let's take care. We'll see
Yeah,
you.
we sure appreciate it.
We'll see you again
Good
soon,
thing
probably.
that- Good work, so.
I'm sure.
Well, Chuck, you've got your big day coming up here, don't you? Big weekend. Yeah.
15th annual.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
We're switching over to a new wireless computer for running it, so
Oh, really?
we'll see how that works.
Sure.
A couple of years ago in Cedar Rapids, those computers shot everything off first 30 seconds of the show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all in how you program it. I mean, you gotta know what you're doing to program it. We've never, with my old system and cables, we've never had a failure, but it just takes so long setting up and tearing down that, the wireless is kind of what they're promoting, so we'll see what happens.
Well, just don't hand out your password so, people going ahead and jumping in there. Oh, yeah.
We should be able to know what the outlook for the weather by tomorrow we should know what next Saturday will be, so hopefully we can have a nice day, so.
It's surprising. If you track weather on certain days, it's usually pretty close to the same every year on certain days.
Don't say that, because we've had a lot of rainy days when we're having boom towns.
Well, all sorts of good news, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't change it.
we, can knock on wood, we've never had to cancel because of weather, but we've played in mud out there, and that mud at the fairgrounds,
Oh, yeah.
it wins no matter what you do. It's a different type of gumbo, so.
It ain't always that way. My wife's birthday's on March 4th. I probably know her 52 years. There's a lot of days that are pretty nasty on her birthday. Some days are nice.
The month of March, whether it comes in as a lamb or comes in like the lion, so.
Either or, yeah.
I guess so. I guess so.
Jail school in September.
Where are you going?
I have to come on the executive board. It's a good session. Well, who's gonna come back and tell you how to do stuff, get resolutions and all that ready for you?
I did read some of them look pretty good.
I guess you have to.
Somebody's got to. Yeah, there's some good stuff. Morning, Myron.
March, yeah, yeah.
I do resolutions. Yep. I have a couple more on this, so I'll number it.
Trip all over. That one was? Yep. Now, look at your
Just Barker said thank you, Larry. Said Jeff Barker said thank you, Larry. I said,
I got it done. Yeah.
Probably seen that truck, but, that's just so they think I got a part according to reads that correctly, where you're at.
Sure. I'll take it right in the middle of something.
length's gonna be determined by the ditch depth. If nobody requests a certain width, then 30 would be probably our standard.
I'm thinking that I can get in virtually any field driveway with semis. Just to go all the way for, there's 10 feet on each side where we live. Works out okay.
Previous county engineer used to say that if intersections are 30-foot roads, we need 30-foot roads, why would a driveway be wider?
Makes sense.
Okay, Chuck, what do you got?
I got a field driveway I've been using since back in the 70s. It's kind of a shared driveway. The Zimmer property to the north uses it. Garth Beatty to the south uses it to access their properties, and I have land to the west of the driveway that I typically have an alfalfa, but I rotate it to crops when it's time to renew the alfalfa. The driveway is one of those older ones that kind of you belly down into, and it's just, with machinery getting bigger, is not adequate to get in and out of it. Randy come out and looked at it. I think he said I had visibility of 380 feet. Myron would know for sure, but
338.
338, okay. And he said you gotta have 500 to, distance. Well, it's a driveway that's in existence, been there forever. And, there's no place to put it elsewhere that is going to access that area. And, for me to safely get in and out with bigger machinery, I need to widen it. And the only way I can do that is if you make a variance to whatever your rules are. And right now, you basically come up to it. The problem, if we kept the roads mowed more, you could have a little more visibility, but you still don't have 500 feet. So you just pull up there, you look for dust, and if there's no dust, you go for it. If we put more of an angle on the thing rather than one of the belly type driveways, that would get us up a little bit higher and help some, but it don't meet your requirements, but it's where it has to be. You can't relocate somewhere else because that's where it is. I just need it wider so I can get in and out with machinery.
You got a culvert underneath it?
Yes, there is.
It does.
Okay,
12 inch. It's half plug.
And I
There's
just-
only a little over 200 feet to the top of the hill to the north where that building site is that drains from there to this driveway. So, it needs a culvert. 12 inches is basically our minimum. It's probably been there for a long enough time that if anything's done at this driveway, we'd probably replace what's there with a new culvert because it's partially silted in and it's probably
The county was,
corroded enough that I bet it's been there for 50 plus years.
Yeah,
So that'll have been buried in the ground that length of time. I'm sure we try to clean it out, we're gonna find it brittle and it's wore out. But if anything was done at this driveway, we'd replace what's there. What Chuck has asked for is to widen it, I forget.
just about double. It's just the
Just-
old,
yeah.
narrow, skinny
Just Randy
driveway.
still said if we were to widen it to Chuck's request would be adding 30 feet to the north end, I think, or 30 feet to that culvert, and we'd have to probably shift it a little bit to taper things in, but 338 feet is what the limited site distance is to the north. I gave you a copy of the current driveway policy that we use. The map kind of shows you what Chuck was talking about. He's got an easement to get between that Beatty and Zimmer property to get to his that's highlighted, and that's his only access to that part of the field. This, I think, is the third time that somebody's come to the board to ask for some type of exception to this driveway policy. The first one was for the board members that signed that resolution, and they denied that person's request. He was wanting to make a U-shaped driveway, so he had another driveway access, so it wasn't like he was limited. We had one 2-3 years ago, give or take. I think 3 of you heard. I think it was in Kent Township, and you added a sign criteria to the distance. The site distance was limited to that was put up for that driveway. That person has since sold that property and somebody else owns it. And this is, I think, the third time that it's come up since 08 where somebody has, say the driveway resolution that was passed in 08 is the secondary road uses when we review driveways. If somebody has a driveway that doesn't meet it, they get the same response as Chuck did, and either they find a new location or come to you. In this case, Chuck really doesn't have a place where that driveway could be moved because I think that Beatty property has probably an easement that allows Chuck to go through it to get to his piece of property.
Yeah, you know, Merchant was cleaning the ditch there the day that I stopped him. I said, man, I need to widen this driveway. And he said, well, put a flag out there, we'll do it. And I didn't even think about distance or anything, so we thought, well, we widen it here, we can get in with a bigger planter and stuff and be great. And then never thought about the distance requirements, and I thought it was pretty plain Jane deal. We just pay whatever it costs and fix the drive, but you know, you can't
You
hardly.
don't have that much travel or traffic on that road, right?
Just your normal, you know, the biggest travel is when the county's rocking it, you know, but otherwise, you know, it's just normal everyday travel, you know.
I meant to look at that and I forgot, 27th Avenue Drive, which is where this driveway is located for Chuck, borders on the south 58th Street, which is the pavement that runs east of Quarry, a lot of people call High Road, north of Benton for 150. And then on the north, it's bordered at 55th Street Drive. It was about 2.25, 2.5 miles between those two intersections. Chuck's driveway is a strong half-mile south of 55th Street Drive. It'd be a strong 1.5 miles north of the pavement. And so once you get to 55th Street Drive or 58th Street, you'll have to turn to go east or west. And 27th Avenue Drive does not continue north and south. There's 2+ miles between there. They did mean to check the drive, the traffic count on the map, but you know, because of that type of situation, I would imagine it's not heavy. Whether there's a little more traffic using it, because there's probably more traffic in that general area, with people moving around a little differently with the roundabout in Urbana, but I wouldn't say that this road probably being much impacted by that project. I know there's more traffic on 58th Street right now because some people are just taking rock in that pavement to get around between Benton and Urbana, since you can't get in the typical way off of 150.
So you're planning on like 2 20-foot with a slice between them?
We stock 30-footers, so I mean, whatever it, it would, I don't know, I mean, whatever's there is probably close to 30 feet of culvert, I'm gonna guess, and 30 feet is what Chuck has asked to add on, that you're probably looking at a 50-foot wide driveway when it's done, give or take, 45 to 50, somewhere in there.
You know, because what if
There wouldn't be much of a ditch up there, since I don't believe,
there's not much, because I mean, the driveway, you drop in and we could build that, you know, more of a ramp there and you know, kind of raise us up some, but you know.
might be closer to 42 to 45 foot wide when it's all said and done with that thought process, you know?
Cause I'd almost bet that driveway's been there since back in the 50s or whatever, as far as the culvert. I don't remember you changing it out, so it's probably junk, you know, if you look at it, so.
We were approached here, as Myron said, a couple of years ago, maybe not quite that long. John Albrecht owned some property, and I thought that was just north of Norway or Walford or something of that nature. There was a small mini storage facility there, and the couple wanted to build a home, which is different. I understand that, but they didn't have the site distance of 500 feet. We denied it due to liability. What happens if, you know, whether they signed a waiver or not? And I realized that, you know, he's going to be much less traffic going in and out of that driveway compared to a residence, but that doesn't lessen the liability issues. That's a tough one, fellas.
I remember that, but I think there wasn't a driveway there.
There was a driveway there, because
I
there's.
don't think there was.
Yes, there was, because they had a small storage facility.
All right, I remember.
They had to get in and out of that.
Yeah. I
And
thought
they-
they were coming in that south driveway by the house. It was a shared driveway.
There wasn't any other spot to put a driveway,
Right.
which is, I mean, that's identical to this. There's no other spot. And again, it didn't have the site distance, and we were concerned with liability. And I don't know if that's the one that Myron was referring to, you know, or not. I don't know if.
One I remember was somebody that had a truck and he couldn't get his semi in and out of the narrow driveway that was there, and needed it widened. It didn't meet our driveway criteria. I can't remember if there was an option of moving it somewhere else. I'm guessing not, because we worked hard with people if they could move them to do that, and then we do some cost sharing, so it's not a full-blown cost for them for improving the safety aspect of it. But the one I'm thinking of was due to the size of the vehicle, a semi-truck, to get it in and out. And that one, what I recall was that we added the cost of the sign and put a sign up that indicated a hidden driveway, or I can't remember what the wording on a MUTC sign is, but there is a sign out there for,
Sure.
from that standpoint. That was a little more heavily traveled road, if I recall right. Just by nature, you start looking at anything on the eastern range of counties, that county all the way, you know, from Oak all the way down through Florence on the east side has all seen the increase in traffic and increased population due to the proximity to Wayne County, Cedar Rapids largely, but because of how we followed our policy and what we have, really, Chuck's request had to come through you, you know. As Chuck stated and as I stated, I don't think there's any way you could move this driveway because of the access that Chuck has to the property. That is a quarter mile off of the road itself.
The other thing is, if we make this driveway wider, it will allow him to get off the road quicker. Because he won't,
Allows him to take wider equipment into that field.
well, yeah,
I don't know that you're gonna turn off the road into a driveway quicker.
So pulling in there now with a side rake, I have to
Yeah, I'm sure you got.
maneuver to get in there, so I'm on there if it was wider, I could just turn and be off, but I'm having to make sure the tires are going into the drive and not in the ditch, because it's so narrow.
There is a place east of Belle Plaine that's just over the hills where gravel road meets pavement. That there's a sign there, and you gotta slow down over. Can't see. There isn't much traffic that comes from the north there.
I mean, it's not a unique situation in the sense of the sight distance, Rick, you say that, there's others in the county that have limited sight distance. People have chosen not to widen it if, based on our policy, and decided to live with it, as is, because, if we can't work with them to move it, and they want it where it's at, and they don't alter it, there's nothing that's violating our policy from that standpoint. It's really when you make changes.
And I totally agree that there's going to be, as far as farm equipment going in and out of the driveway, less frequency than there would be when we were presented with that we denied here a year or two ago, because that was going to be a residential area. And they were going to live out there. Not that they were going to have big parties, but almost a daily activity on that driveway. So
You're looking at a couple times in the spring and a couple times in the fall. Basically, like this.
I understand that. Yeah. And you're not going to have it in the winter time when there's snow on the road, so you don't worry about it.
And if it's
Leave the rusty one there.
if there's not dust for me to see traffic, I'm not in there because it's muddy and you're not farming. So, I mean, I use the dust as,
Friday on a different occasion, so I was gonna talk to you. Where we right here.
So how many cans is this going to open?
I had another farmer talk to me on Friday, this past Friday, about the same situation.
It could be one thing if it, putting the sign up just alleviated all liability for the county. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, the situation that I was contacted on Friday, I can kind of see it, that in order for the semi to come in the one driveway, he's got to jack around twice. Pull up, then swing in, then back up, and then come in.
And what
He just wants the driveway wider.
Yeah.
Sight distance is only 480 feet, so he's short of 500 feet.
Short, 20 feet.
Yes.
This is short. Not quite.
Right.
What is that? 162.
Yeah. But I agree that if they could add on 10 foot of the culvert, semi will not have to stop and jack it in there. He can pull in there, he's off the road. For safety wise, it's,
So if you tear it up, why don't you put in new culvert for the whole thing?
just, there again, when you go up to this, everything in here says it's all about a new driveway.
Well, but down here, at
At the very bottom, it says widen a driveway.
all driveways or field entrances, widening projects will also be handled in the same manner as a new driveway or new field entrance. I hate to be the one who bucket cold water, but, if it doesn't, put the sign up, doesn't increase the liability.
Benton County Supervisors.
Yeah, this is, my name is Bernard. Well, you trying to call into the meeting this morning?
Yep, we're just a little behind on schedule. If you want to stay on the line, or do you want to try back in a few minutes?
All right, yeah, well,
Okay, I'll stay down there then. Thanks.
okay.
put a sign up, I think that limits our liability when people are going.
That's your liability. You know that it's not a safe distance for journey. Because I'm putting a beware dog sign up. You know the dog is vicious.
Should we look at the resolution a little bit more? What have they got?
Unless you plan on redoing it.
Take out the word sentence, it will be done.
Well, in that case, John Holpress would have passed.
Right.
Selling his property would have passed. It was the owner who wanted to put a home there. If it wasn't for the liability, I had no problem with it, but it's just the liability. And you can table it until you can talk to the county attorney to see if I'm wrong. On the liability.
All right, we table it right now instead of deny it?
Yeah,
I need to be able to get in and out of that driveway, so.
exactly. No, I understand it. I'm just concerned about the county's liability. So,
Just had somebody jump on me on Friday about the same difference, and it's so close.
well, it's closer to this one,
Yeah.
480.
So, well, I ain't got nothing to do, but let me check in on this.
Is there a motion to table this?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion that we table this, item, widening of the existing driveway.
One second it.
I'll second it, yes.
All right. All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Aye. When I find something out, I'll let you know. Okay?
You'll be able to let your other partner know.
Yep.
There's two birds with one stone.
Yep.
Actually, more birds than you can shake a stick at.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in, Chuck.
Now, you two guys, Ron, Scott, you're up.
Hi.
And you got a gentleman on the phone.
Yeah, that's Mike Day with the police.
Which one's first?
Uh,
I have the waiting.
the waiver,
The performance bond.
yes,
Okay,
he wants to know a bit more, Rick does,
okay,
pros and cons.
all right. Mike?
Mike, you still there?
You might have muted us.
Good morning, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. Talk pros and cons of the performance bond.
I guess a performance bond, and I'm no legal expert, but a performance bond to me is an insurance policy. A lot of times used for building buildings, and it's just a guarantee that, from an independent company that, your project will get completed. I think, it is normally a piece of a project. I think we just uncovered that this one really hadn't gotten, purchased at the start of the project, and at that point, I think we, wanted to make sure the county, again, kind of knowing some of the, financial challenges that it's had, that one of them, kind of double check and make sure this is something you still want to, have as part of the project, but, I think, in this case, where I think it's, somewhat safe is you've really got a vendor here that's done a lot of these projects and in the area, a local vendor, not necessarily, a larger corporation from out of state. So, I think you're fairly safe, if you choose not to, have them purchase this and then just take the money as credit. But, yeah, that's, I guess, where I stand on it.
Mike, can you tell me, like the new towers, are they gonna be billed directly to Raycom or not, and leave Benton County out, right?
Yeah, the new towers, the civil piece, we still haven't gotten a lot of the financial, understandings of what they had originally estimated compared to, you know, what the additional unknown challenges are. So I don't know if we know what that number is yet, but that was the way the project had always been intended to run, that they would, you folks had supported the, civil work, in the contract, and that they would be responsible for it now. You know, knowing the need for a replacement tower, and some of those things, I think they're gonna be coming to you with change order requests stating that it was above and beyond what they had anticipated.
Mike, it's Rick Primer. How many other counties have not done the performance bond?
As far as I know, I mean, I don't know counties. I guess counties that we work with is normally a part of the process. But again, it's always you know, it's always a question for the county as far as, you know, what they feel is their comfort level. But yeah, it's normally a piece of every project that we've dealt with.
Okay.
Next question, Mike, is the ones you dealt with that had the performance bond, have you ever had to collect on it?
No, not that I'm aware of. I've been in this particular part of the business for a little over 5 years now, but I don't, even going back with the guys that I work with, I don't think we've ever had a situation where we have to collect.
And why is it part of the contract?
They always throw it in there.
Yeah, but I get it's standard.
Yeah.
And so having it is standard, and if this Raycom has done it before, why didn't they do it now? I mean, it's 40-some thousand bucks, I understand, 41
They're
or.
trying to give you the credit.
I get it. But we're talking project, it's what, 7.2 million? So what's the percentage of that 40 grand? Pretty small. You know, nobody likes insurance unless they need it. That's the bottom line. You know, I hate to spend it, but it was part of the contract.
True. It was what and, you know, they didn't get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they finally, Mike's the one that found it, that they did not get it.
Sure.
Do we know any legalities with that one, or with our general obligation, are we required to?
I don't know that.
That's what I.
It's part of the contract, and so, I mean, right now, they're in default. Yeah. Not that we're gonna back out, unless you don't like the change orders that I was warned about, you know, so. It's in there, it's part of the contract, it was put in for legal purposes, you know, yeah, I don't like spending the bucks, but, you know, we're stepping over $1 to pick up a dime.
How's your feeling, Ron?
I see both sides of it, but being as it is part of the contract, we should probably do it. But then if you look at the other side of it, if they default, there's nobody to come in and fix this that I'm aware of. Is there another company doing this system, Scott?
I'm sure there are around the country.
No, but locally.
No.
It means it's part of the contract, I think we have to have it. I don't like that. Because we could certainly use this someplace else.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt, who couldn't use 40 grand? You know, but with it being a contractual, you
And
know,
if it's part, like,
part of it,
if it's part, they have to have this because of our bonding procedure, then absolutely we have to have it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't want to do something there that we're definitely be in violation.
that wouldn't be cool.
I
No,
think I have to disclose those things, those changes too.
I make a motion to deny it, that we require it,
Required.
okay? As per contract,
Deny the waiver.
deny it, however you wanna put it.
I guess I'll second it.
Okay, we'll go on over. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. We're gonna have it. Got that, Mike?
No, give me the.
We're gonna go, we want it. Go ahead and tell them we want it.
Okay. Okay, I can do that.
Okay, that's it for that thing, and then, okay,
The detailed design review,
yeah. The DDR. Who wants to take over on that one?
I've been working with Mike through most of this process, wanting to get to the point where he was comfortable as our contractor, overlooking the project to say that it was ready. And he's recommending that the detailed design review is ready. Now, that's separate from the estimated civils and all these answers we don't have yet about the towers, because that's all in the contract. It says civils are estimated. So that was explained to me finally, because I was understanding too that that should have been done ahead of time, but it's not. So what they presented though as the design of the system is satisfactory. So as far as Mike's concerned, and then Ron and I, because we rely on Mike a lot for that, we're okay with it, that we're at that stage where that DDR can be signed. What that does, the main thing that does is that opens up Raycom to get our equipment ordered. And every time we talk, the weeks of getting this equipment are getting longer. So, we need to get to this point where it needs to be signed, and then they need to get some equipment ordered.
and so any of the add-ons are what you would call the civil.
That's in the civils part, all this tower stuff we're
All that
talking about.
was
Yeah.
estimated.
And it was an estimated civils, so
Okay,
they did estimate X number of dollars or allocate an estimation of X number of dollars per tower site. Now that we know we have to do some modifications, it's probably gonna be more than they estimated, which where the change order will come in, but we're also getting some credits for some things that we're keeping, like the buildings and the, so it will eventually be an additional number. We don't know what that is yet, but
Right.
that's part of the civils, it's not part of the design. So, the detailed design review is ready for Mike.
good. I will make a motion, okay.
Okay, biggest thing though, I feel that when I sign this thing.
Yep.
Big payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they're gonna order equipment,
Yeah.
and so I understand that. Yeah. And we budgeted for that, correct, Haley?
The civil portion is coming out of the ARPA, but the rest is out of our debt service.
Yeah, the bonding we did.
we did make one change to it, where we changed it, where we now have 2 microwave links into our public safety answering point instead of 1. So if something goes down here, it'll still come in another direction. which it's a more robust and redundant system than we had originally looked at.
And that's in this design.
That's in this design review.
Well, that's why you review it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Make changes if they're needed.
3 or 4 times now.
Anything to add, Mike, on the DDR?
No, I think you captured it. I will say, yeah, you've got a radio system design, and that's really what the DDR is about. We don't see that changing, even though you've gotten some bad news on your civil pieces. But I guess from my perspective, you're probably going to move forward with correcting those. So you're probably not going to affect the design of the radio system, and you got a little bit of regulatory left on the greenfield site, but for all intents and purposes, the radio system design will not change unless something really dramatic comes out of left field. But it's not uncommon that a lot of times counties, don't even have that much confidence in their civil work at this point. So I think you're in a safe space to kind of accept that design and get that piece of the project moving forward.
Okay, good. I'll continue with my motion. That we approve the detailed design review. Approve. Whatever.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And what is the dollar amount that we to send with this?
I don't have it with me. That's in the contract.
Okay.
That whole, remember how thick it was?
I do.
I was assuming we'll get stuff in place.
It's just hard.
Mike, you might remember it. What's the next payment? How bad?
I don't for sure, but it's usually a percentage of the contract, 15% maybe. Sound right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a lot more than that.
Look it up.
Will they invoice us separately for those
Yes.
portions, correct?
Yeah, you're gonna sign that document, and then that should allow them to, once you get that back to them, allow them to generate an invoice, which should show you the milestone payment, and so give you that total.
Send it to him snail mail or email it to him. Mike?
I don't know, if you signed it, I think you signed it already.
Nope. Nope.
He did not sign it?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna get a copy of his signature, and then, you can sign it and just email it back to him,
Okay.
scan it in and email
Okay. That's Glenn Reynolds.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. I guess that pretty well does it for this one. Thanks for calling in, Mike.
You bet. Thanks.
So, when did he send that to you?
It's dated August 3rd.
He was supposed to send you one yesterday that was signed.
I'll sit down today.
Okay, that's a little shocked by that, okay. So,
Because we would send it that day on that email.
he's been sending everything email for the signatures. So, I don't know, when I get back, I'll email him again and ask him
Yeah.
how he wants this done.
So I have this on for next week, the other bill we have for June.
Oh, yeah, consultant, yeah, part of the funds.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. forward. Thank you, Ron.
We've asked for, well, we've basically asked for each tower site to be broke out separately, so we can.
That's what they're working on.
We want to see each one by itself. It was getting rather confusing, at least for me.
Yeah, that's what they're working on.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chuck.
Here. Yeah.
Can you do number the?
Yeah, my errand's here, we can do that for, Gary, you take over, do the one.
There's a lot of traffic between, Blairstown, Blacktop, and I'll go on 218 intersection a mile south. And it's dusty. Can't see, there's hardly any places along there that got dust control in front of their house. There's sometimes where people could get hurt if they pull out, or if there's dust there. And I'd like to lower the speed limit down to 35 miles an hour on that road between Blairstown, Blacktop, and south of 218. Because of the amount of traffic and the amount of dust. Just wanted to make you aware of it. I don't know if it'll go down, if the amount of traffic will go down, but last week they closed the road, and Saturday and Sunday, there was a lot of traffic on that road.
It's gonna go, I would assume it's gonna go up with school starting.
What's that, Ron?
I would assume the traffic count right there is gonna go up with school starting.
Probably.
Just would depend on what surface type people choose to prefer.
True. I would prefer the kids went over and
Friday.
took a blacktop.
Friday late morning, early afternoon, the DOT opened up north of Luzerne intersection at Highway 30 and closed North Blairstown intersection on Highway 30. I learned of it like probably everyone else after it had happened. Maintenance superintendent was out and about and called me Friday afternoon and said, Luzerne's open, Blairstown's closed. Talked to DOT a little bit about that yesterday. That wasn't my primary call yesterday, but that's something they indicated they would work on a little bit better moving forward with some of that work, so that maybe have a little bit of heads up. I was anticipating it at some point because we had been in contact with the contractor a couple weeks ago, and he had indicated that they were moving in that direction. We'll probably hear about it directly when it was going to happen, as opposed to secondhand. Now, what Gary's talking about, I had the same comment from a resident yesterday morning that lives miles south of the 218 intersection, seeing traffic going north and south at his place and west of his place, 74. Now, with that sudden closure, I would say there is some time where people are debating and learning what routes are best to use. DOT has the marked detour to get to Blairstown. If you're southbound out of Benton, you'll see a detour ahead sign just before you get to the interchange at 30, telling you that you need to go east instead of west if you want to go to Blairstown. Then on Highway 30, it directs you to what we call W12, 26th Avenue, North Watkins, as you go towards Watkins and then west over to Blairstown. Although that signage is up, indicating the traffic to turn there. And likewise, the other direction, if you're coming out of Largetown, it'll send you out of town. Depending on where you're at in Largetown, there may be some question whether you know that right away, and so I've asked for a little bit of additional signage. I did bring up dust control, but at the same time, I'm just gonna mirror a little bit with what Gary said. It's only, for the most part, day two, since the closure for at least a work week. Certainly the weekend, there was a lot of traffic, I'm sure. And I think that resident speaks exactly the same thing as what Gary says. But if indeed dust control is needed and the DOT is aware of their responsibility, I'm certain that they are gonna ask that county to coordinate it and then reimburse the county for that expense, because that's how they handled that at Urbana with the roundabout here just recently. But I have made some contacts with the DOT. They are hopeful that that Watertown intersection will be paved and open by December. And that access to Watertown will be off of Highway 30 in the wintertime. If that indeed happens, then the likelihood is that 30 Van Horn will not be accessible off of Highway 30. That would be the next closure. And then early this winter, the DOT is opening bids for the remainder, 4 miles, 5 miles between 21st and or Highway 21 and 16th Avenue. We'll find out who that contractor is and what that schedule is. But at this point, I think DOT is saying the end of the construction year of 2024, they think they'll have all of Highway 34 lanes open to traffic. But we've already dust control. I'm monitoring that here through midweek, and I will be back with the DOT and express the need or not type of deal. And I've already started putting a map together as to where I think dust control would need to be. I would need to get hold of a private contractor and see what their available schedule is.
As far as
the speed, I do not have a resolution prepared at this point. That was, you know, if that's something you would like to do, like has been done on some unmarked detours in the past, I can draft one and have it here next week on the agenda. I may or may not have signs in inventory because we depleted our inventory pretty tough with all the other unofficial detours that we have in the county.
Does do a lot of good to change the speed if we can't post it.
I mean, we can get signs.
I understand that. I wonder how long it's going to take to get the signs.
Well, it may be available to rent quicker than it might be to buy. You know, it's just we have always had some in our inventory, which was enough to handle what we had done earlier this spring, but it would not. It's not enough to continue to the large degree we have of DOT projects right now. But a signing company may have more in their stock that maybe we could rent temporarily from them for a couple months.
Maybe we can change the viaduct project, let them do that, and then in turn, they put us in a interchange at Blairstown Corner like they did at 218.
It's really what needs to be done there.
Yes, it is.
It would be somewhat
Hit them up with that, Tracy.
short of a miracle to get that accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They told me it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, we all know it needs to be done, but
I told them about it before they even started the project.
it's, you know, like this viaduct idea. I mean, what the heck? So, okay.
There's a lot of traffic there at that Blairstown corner.
Well, it's gonna cause, fire and EMS response too.
Sure.
Some issues.
I talked with Drew over at CarQuest yesterday, and he said they're going clear past the Chelsea corner. I mean, they've been getting, they've gotten like 30 calls this last month. It's just tremendous, he said, the amount of calls they're getting.
Your car puts in the belt.
Yes.
Okay.
He's on Bell Plain Fire.
I would recommend go ahead and get that 35-mile-an-hour resolution done and get it signed, ordered, and take care of it next week. And I don't worry about the dust control. Like you said, it's new. But I guess I look at it, this is just the start of it. This is gonna be that way for a year and a half at least.
I wonder if we could request the school to put something out to the students to stick to the blacktop roads.
The use going south would probably end this winter if Blairstown becomes open. I mean, even though Van Horn would be closing next, there'd be no reason why you wouldn't, why the traffic should stay on the pavement and go to 30, and then from there, figure out how to get across to the other side. So it wouldn't be a year and a half, it would be potentially now through December. Okay. But I could tell by the rock and lime residue on the pavement at 74th, north Blairstown, that there was no doubt there's been a lot of traffic coming on and off of the Rock Road at that intersection. DOT has barricades there indicating that the road is closed. And so those that have missed any signage up to this point, if they're northbound, know that you either can whip the U and go back to town and figure out what you need to do, or you start going east or west on the Rock, and most of the traffic is wanting to go east. So they're going east on 74th. And yeah, I think there's only 2 residents along that route that have dust control. The rest are without dust control. I looked at the right.
They closed Black Dirt Road mile west of the Blairstown Blacktop. There's a dirt road there, right? Well, it goes from Highway 30 to a mile south.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been closed. And I don't know who it wasn't me. Somebody opened it back up. And I went down there and looked at it last night with a 4-wheeler. And I met a car that said, well, it's open. And I said, no, it's not, it's closed. They closed it back up. And they were still working last night at 7 o'clock. But the people could get across there if they took the barricade down.
Yeah, but we don't have to keep doing that.
No. I just soon see some fencing put up there and that.
Yeah.
Until we need to farm, close it.
Based on what I'm seeing, I think there's more traffic probably, as Gary's describing, and the residents that are going 3 miles on 74th, using that first mile south of 218. Now, I think there's still going to be an increase in traffic on the other 3 miles of 24th from 74th south to 77th. How much, I don't know. Like I say, I drove that this morning on the way to work, and that 2 vehicles in that 4-mile stretch. How much are using the more detour for sure, or who are those that don't mind the rock? I know a motorcycle rider that did not choose the rock. He went the marked paved detour, because I know he works just outside Blairstown, and rides his motorcycle for a bit to work on the way to days that he can. And knowing who he is, I'm like, wow, he followed Mark detour this morning. So So I know they're reading signs, they know how to use it, because they can't go the traditional way down Watertown. I'm certain that things have probably changed for some people between Friday and Monday and Tuesday this week. I anticipate some changes continuing.
How long
How
is
the dust, or how the school will all handle it, I know that Friday, the maintenance superintendent for Secondary Roads contacted Mr. Lyons, I think, at that community to make him aware of that, so they can plan accordingly for the school year too. But yeah, I guess depending on how students might choose to travel between the high school, may or may not be on the paper.
I'd like, I'll talk to Tyler and he can talk to the administration.
You bring up a good point, Myron. We might have to look at more than just this 3-mile section for a reduced speed limit.
Well, I don't know. I think, at least right now, based on both Gary's comment, a resident's comment, and a little bit of my staff, I think that 74th is impacted more with increased traffic than the 4 miles, or at least 3 of the 4 miles of 24th. Not to say that 24th isn't gonna see some increased traffic, it may not be a lot, whereas the weekend, particularly, I'm not sure exactly on yesterday and today, and how much that has changed, but it's evident from just looking at the wheel pass on Rock, that multiple parties that have commented about increased traffic on that route is shown on just looking at things.
If you go between Blairstown and Highway 30, 74th is one way to get through, and then you gotta go down past the K-store. It's the next
76.
Yeah, it's the next place to get through to the blacktop. You can't get through there because of dirt roads.
Sure.
So once you start north, you're going to 76.
Sure.
Okay.
And our feelings, so
Mm-hmm.
get the signs coming and get your resolution next week.
All right, backing up to item 10, since we're past 10:30,
Yep.
just take charge if you don't mind. I'll keep you moving.
That's a good idea.
February, I hired a guy by the name of Rodney Schmucker. And come Monday, he'll be 6 months working for Secondary Roads with, party and contractor pay rate goes after 6 months, so his wage will increase from what it is now to $24.61. His wage grade will change from a 5A or a 4A to a 4B, and that will all take effect on August 22nd. So I have the resolution.
Second motion, and Primer, aye.
Here's the guy. You did on that other one.
A lot of traffic. Brian's home before this morning. And we go across there with 7
Wind's not blowing hard enough to dislocate that dust today either, so. Those 2 pickups I met on 24th, that hung for a full mile after I went past them.
Hudson, been here a long time. Pleasure.
Pleasure.
I think that's all.
Hi, Jeff.
I like that.
Thank you.
Oh, me too.
I'm on the fence.
Thanks, man.
I have time to swing by the A&W. That's the one.
I might do shit for more.
Okay. Now I guess we're up for old business or interesting comments or.
Up to me?
Go ahead.
Well, hello folks, Preston Moore, Humane Society of the United States, coming back to you today. Wanted first to ask if you all had any additional questions or information that I might be able to provide to you at this time related to your dangerous animal ordinance.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Of course, my offer remains open. I'd be happy to discuss it with any of you at any time. I did watch last week's meeting. I wanted to let you know I did not hear from the young lady who I think you gave my card to. I hope to hear from her. And in that spirit, at the Benton City Council meeting this last week, I did state my phone number on the record publicly. I've offered that anyone in Benton County or any of the communities who want to discuss the proposal that we brought forth, they can give me a call. I do have a couple of items I want to supplement the information I provided you with, and I can give this to you in print when I'm done. But we have three things that I want to just bring to your attention. The first is that currently it appears that at least one deputy with the Benton County Sheriff's Department is attempting to improperly enforce county ordinance within a municipality where there is a contradictory ordinance. Of course, we have home rule here. I've just cited the section of code from the 2008 resolution and initiative within the state of Iowa. I'll just read one segment. If the power or authority of a county conflicts with the power and authority of a municipal corporation, the power and authority exercised by the municipal corporation shall prevail within its jurisdiction. I bring this up because several times it appears from the body cam footage, the deputy involved with this situation mentioned, your dog looks like a pit bull, it's not allowed in Benton County. And I just wanted to make sure that on the record it's stated that that is not permissible under Iowa home rule. The second thing I want to bring to your attention is that currently I believe the county ordinance is either not being enforced at all or it is being enforced very inconsistently. I've got a couple of quotes from the same deputy that I mentioned that I believe were within a couple of hours of each other, if not shorter. I'm going to read three different quotes for you. The first one says, "You don't have to get rid of her. You just can't have her in Benton County. And you're not the only one. I have 9 people. 9 people. Some of these dogs have slipped through the cracks. People, but the city gave us a list, and that's where we're at." I do want to point out with that one that the deputy did say that there were 9 additional families. It's now come out that there were maybe 4 or 5. So he was not telling the truth at that point. This next exchange, I'm going to read first a quote from a Keystone resident and then the deputy. The resident says, "If I don't get rid of her in those 10 days because we're talking to City Hall and stuff, what's the legal consequences? Because I'm going to fight for my dog. I mean, it's my dog." And the deputy said, "Right, you have every right to do that. Basically, if you don't get rid of the dog, then I will serve you. I will have to serve you papers. And then we'll go through with the search warrant and we'll move the dog." That shows, I think, that the ordinance is not being properly enforced within the county, at least not being properly enforced in the city of Keystone by the county. Keystone's ordinance requires that a veterinarian make the determination of what a dog's breed is, and again, we're relying solely on visual ID. The third quote, I think, proves pretty definitively that the ordinance is not being enforced, and if it is, it's very inconsistent. So the quote is, basically the problem you had is everybody can see him. If you have him on a farm somewhere, I'll be honest, you've got to play the game. You have too many people watching everything in town. If you have him on a farm, unless he goes and kills chickens, nobody cares. But they care because you're in town. What you do with him, I don't even want to know. So I think that all those quotes show that right now within the county, the enforcement of the ordinance is not really being enforced within Benton County jurisdiction. And when it is, it seems like it's being done in a pretty subjective and inconsistent manner. Again, I believe the enforcement of Benton County ordinance is attempted to be improperly enforced within city limits. And finally, and I think this is the most troubling part of all those quotes, it seems like at least one deputy, and by extension the county as a result, is viewing this ordinance as a, quote, game. And unfortunately, it's not anywhere close to a game. We have families that are at risk of losing a pet, a family member, and potentially moving out of town or the county. The third item I want to bring up to you is a real-world example about how the current ordinances in Benton County and throughout the communities are turning folks away, including essential employees. About a week and a half ago, Kirkwood, Benton County, via the Benton County Schools, announced that a new employee named Abigail Cecido, goes by Abby, had been named the new Student and Academic Support Coordinator through Kirkwood, Benton County. Benton County's ordinance places this new employee at risk of unlawful seizure of property without cause, and places the community at risk of losing a valuable and experienced employee before she even starts. Abby did pose with a photo for that organization that they posted online with her dog, who under the current ordinance would not be allowed. And as I explained to y'all when I was here 2 weeks ago, at a time right now when especially schools are having a hard time attracting teachers and other essential employees, I believe it's not in the best interest of the county to maintain their ordinance as it stands. So we have a couple of requests, and a couple of these are repeated. Again, we request and recommend that Benton County formally suspend enforcement of the county's appearance-based prohibition ordinance. I say formally because, as I stated, I believe that it's not being enforced right now. We also request and recommend that Benton County adopt and enforce a breed and appearance neutral ordinance that's based on individual animal behaviors. We are also requesting that employees of the Benton County Sheriff's Office receive continuing education related to the 25th Amendment of the Iowa Constitution related to home rule. We're also requesting and recommending that Benton County and the Benton County Sheriff's Office immediately cease attempts to enforce county ordinances within municipal jurisdictions. And we are also requesting that the Benton County Attorney provide continuing education and guidance to representatives and employees of Benton County and the Benton County Sheriff's Office related to improper and subjective enforcement of county ordinances. That's what I have for you today. And give this to you in writing. Sure, you're welcome. You're welcome. Of course. You're welcome.
Do you have something, young lady?
I was just gonna do a quick conservation update. Any answer any questions?
I don't have any questions for Preston.
Anyone else? Okay. Of course, if you do, please give me a call. Email me, whatever is easiest for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Heavily Doing Shoreline is completed. And originally we did put in for roughly 60-ish thousand, I believe, for ARPA funding, but we have it 100% covered with donations and grants.
Nice.
So that's pretty exciting news. We have the okay, so that's completed, which is exciting. Next, we're working towards the Wildcat Shower House. I know Tracy, you asked Tracy to bring it up with you guys. I did end up getting, between last week and this week, some updated quotes for septic, shower house, host site and dump station, it comes out to be roughly 214, I think. I'm just rounded up to 220 because of how things are. Yeah, which our original was, we were thinking around 200, but everything is going up, as we speak. I have, the primary buildings are Hopcat. So this is something that we talked about at the ARPA meeting, and originally, I actually said maybe up to 260 depending on the building when we talked about ARPA committee, because we didn't know what kind of building we were looking at. But the building came in at 151,850. I have quotes from them if you'd like to see the design. And rough cost estimates, just a heads up on what could be coming your way. Of course, we have to put this out to bid. So the company, I have Hendrix Electric give us a rough guess, given this design and Mark Greenlee's design. So they called Mark Greenlee and talked to him when we met out there. So they had that all squared away, and these are the numbers as of this August, with the exception of the building, which might even be more now. Hopefully not, should be. If you want copies of this, you've kind of seen it all at ARPA, but
How many campsites are out there?
there are currently 24 campsites and heavily used, they use trail, the number 17 in the world for disc golf, and we're wanting to get a counter because the amount of people that come into that park is insane. But yeah, definitely one of the heaviest used areas in Benton County. I'd say that as a whole, it's crazy how much gets used there at Wildcat.
Currently, the restroom facilities is just a holding tank, is that correct?
Yeah, there's 2 holding tanks, 2 vault pit toilets there. A larger one that has, multiple stalls, and then a 2-stall one. So, yeah. Yes, and no running water. People to wash hands or, anything. So that's, and hence ARPA being ARPA is like made for county conservation, to get flushing water or flushing toilets and running water. So it's really, really exciting that we have this opportunity.
You got a brochure, so what them shower houses look like? You got one along? I know what they look like, but if you got a brochure.
Right, I don't have that brochure, but I can email it. Like that was nice colored and the whole
This
thing.
is a pre-constructed,
Yes.
just move in type scenario.
So what I did was I visited a couple other counties, including Lynn County. Lynn County has constructed their own, both in-house and with contractors, and then they've also brought in Hopcat. And they said hands down, they're not going with anyone else other than Hopcat because it just makes sense. How they're designed for the work they did, everything else. And that was good to hear because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And for personal experience from other counties and our current shower houses, sometimes when you construct your own and it's not made for that regular winterization and you put in mind and everything, so things get missed. So these are made specifically for that winterizing and the ease of it and all of that. And for storms.
Are these quotes still good?
They were only good into May, because I got them for the last ARPA committee meeting that we had.
May of 22.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's still this year. I mean, they're not that old, and I can't imagine if they've gone up, it's gone up that much. But most companies, if you get on the schedule and you talk to them, they'll still honor the old bid. We've been fortunate enough to move in that direction. But, like I said, we just put it out to bid and all of it, concrete and stuff.
The numbers went down a little since.
Yeah, this is a concrete.
Yeah, this is concrete.
Facility.
Yeah.
I think the wind rating is 150 miles an hour.
I think your delivery and crane rental is probably gonna go up substantially, but that's not a large portion
No.
on here.
Right. So that's really, really exciting stuff. And it's been that and then putting some towards the Hannah shop because we should be able to put the Hannah shop's kind of divided into pole barn with addition, right? That's kind of how it broke out and how Atkins and Larry and Tracy and I all wrote it out. So what we were looking at hopefully doing is putting some ARPA funding towards that addition portion for public water access again and, utilizing that funding. And then that would make the shop more affordable. It wouldn't come out of general or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think, there's more. Can you remember anything else that we were?
And the Shanes, your big party.
Yes. So the Shane, Fenn, and Wildlife area outside of Mount Auburn there next to the old sod farm. We're having a grand opening on September 15th from 5 to 7. And Easton Bird, the food truck's coming, and Benton County Brewery is going to be there with some samples. So kind of pull people from all over the county. It's going to be just to get people out there and see. And we're going to talk about hunting and the wetland, and we're going to have a public program at 6. So that's really exciting. We just have a little bit more gravel work to do on the parking lot, but it's looking.
Can you do that? The brewery?
That's
not the sample without.
That's on them, not us. And I told them that, and so they have a license and they can do sample, but they can't sell. That's my understanding. I don't know how the.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the food you have to pay for, correct?
Yes, and the food you have to pay
They're not
for.
providing that.
Yeah, we're not providing, other than all the pros, they're all giving us 15% of proceeds. So the Benton County Brewery Company is bringing merchandise, but that's it. So if they sell any, then they give us 15%, or they're just gonna probably write us a basic check if they don't make much. And then Easton Bird, the same thing, so. We remove ourselves from all of that, because we don't want that.
I'm just kind of curious if they needed some sort of license and all that good stuff.
Definitely would need it if they were selling anything.
Yeah. If they're big samples or little samples or what.
I don't know. So then also we're having kind of a debut of the shoreline on the 2nd of September, Friday, going into Labor Day weekend. We're gonna have a monarch tagging program. The VFW is coming out and selling food.
Definitely do.
Yeah, sorry, did I say so? Okay.
You said you're gonna have it.
Oh, the shoreline.
Of shoreline.
Okay, yes. So that's on Friday, 2nd. So it starts with the monarch program at 1, and then VFWs come in. I mean, we may or may not be having a fish program, but just kind of like to show everybody what, the new shoreline, and we got a new parking lot there the staff put in, and just kind of working on our future plans for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's a couple other things, but those are the big things, I believe. So we're collecting bills for monthly doing. Oh, and then we had spillway repairs done on the dam there at Rogers. That was something that was also brought up at ARPA. We're collecting bills for that now. But the staff worked really hard to clean that all up, and then we had concrete people come in and patch and fix it. I don't know the last time that it was touched, maybe 15 years or more. It was starting to have some damage for our bird inspection. So we got all of that fixed, and we're just waiting on the bills for that. Yeah.
And what she was looking for, Rick, was permission to go ahead with the shower house.
Yes. And then eventually Hannah, but.
I don't know that we can do anything that's not on the agenda.
Right.
Just give her a nod. I mean, because we never okayed everybody else so far. They got what they wanted to get.
The committee itself.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be blindsiding, like, you see the bids go out on our website, and then we get the bills coming in, and it's like, whoa, why is all this going
So
on?
does this need to go in front of the ARPA committee?
Well,
It
we
has.
already had. I mean, we don't really take action in the ARPA committee, it's just because it's still ultimately on you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and so was it?
I would say we get the bids, come back and
We
accept,
approved
approve the bids and then
We
go.
approved all the different projects.
Okay.
But you would give her permission to go get the bids or whatever.
Right, well, yeah, more like just like, I don't know. Yeah, just trying to be super transparent.
Sure, sure.
Kind of like when like the lead guys come in and ask that they're gonna go forward with this.
Right,
But ultimately, until you get the quotes and bids to
Yeah.
accept.
Is there a list put together for what?
Everybody wants?
Yes.
I think we
Yeah, well-
roughly talked about it, like,
And I know we talked about it.
that's kind of how we did it, like,
No, I would say it's not out to the public. Just
well, but we discussed it in here.
Yeah, what we have.
Yeah.
I mean, what everybody wants.
See it.
Conservation has a list.
Okay.
And then is getting quotes for wiring and all that, and then Harry's gonna get some software.
Yeah.
We were gonna do those imaging, so we had that guy in here presenting to you guys, so those kind of things.
Yeah.
And the others I know. So, yeah.
And like, if you want, this is what the ARPA committee gotta see, it's just blowing up with edits currently on where we're sitting is all, but these are all the things that I've showed them, green being priority. That fits perfectly with ARPA.
Total amount you're going to request from ARPA.
Total ARPA, ideally, if I got everything I want, right, like if it worked out, $852,000.
That's a fair chunk of that
It is.
ARPA funds.
Total for priority areas on this list would be 551. But, for instance, on here, there was a 48,000 requested for Heffley Doolin, and we don't need that. So that already lowered, my overall request,
So
so
we can use that towards our,
Wildcat.
use those ARPA funds towards the radio project.
I was just gonna say move it to So, yeah, and those estimates are based off of, some of them are kinda high. Cause you don't know until you start getting quotes or real bids.
How much is the Hammond estimate?
250 is what we originally talked about, from ARPA. But that might be high also. It kind of depends on what classifies as ARPA, but essentially anything with bathrooms and public use on our end classifies, so.
But Hammond has much higher count when it comes to campsites.
Yeah, but that's for the in and shop, so it's just the restroom and the building, the boardroom
The office is
essentially,
your
yeah.
alley,
Yeah, and that's only two stalls in there, is all we'd have. It'd be set up like Rogers, have you been out there? It's like a
Not there.
full bathroom and a shower, one each, just attached to the shop offices for the public.
I haven't used them, been out there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but I think we were thinking, yeah, shop obviously is more than that, but yes. And we have fun things on here.
How much has the request come to? Have that on top.
Total of everybody's.
Did
No,
she
so
talk?
we had the boiler from
Yeah,
maintenance,
and I can see that as being
yep,
kind of a important item.
which we haven't got our second deposit yet, so obviously we can't spend that, you can have the second finish, so.
How much was that? Like 4.9.
2 million of it for sure is going to the radio line.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 2.9.
Yeah. We'd be out.
I heard on the
Yeah.
yesterday.
Me and my charts.
Yeah, how much it was. We get money from the state. We apply for the end of the month.
you applied, or you sent in some of those projects to the state, too, for additional, didn't you?
Because her request is about 30% of that 2.9.
We never heard from them.
Yeah, so the governor's office contacted me and asked me for my list because they specifically wanted to see, because they knew conservation and ARPA funding just matched perfectly, so they were seeing maybe where there were unmet needs or anything like that. So I sent them the list, asked them if they needed more information, and they said, no, this is perfect, thanks so much, and they just so I don't know what happened there.
I don't know either, but I knew that was like, yeah, we were hoping that we could get that in addition.
Yes, because especially because they were saying basically if the county would.
For your information, our first meeting for the ARPA fund happened September 2nd last year, almost a year now.
Sure.
And our last meeting, according to this, 4/26 of this year, Lexi had in here 219,000 for doing all the copying.
And that was just her recorders, and if I do mine, I think mine was like 140.
Yeah, we got yours.
Yep.
Ben at IT, it was right around 80,000, 81,620. David Thompson, county attorney, 45,410. That was for new software. I remember he could talk to other county attorneys, wasn't it? Maybe simpler. Okay. Rick at maintenance. Now this, I did not get the update, which we give them the go ahead.
Was the boiler that he was in here on not too long ago.
Right.
Because wasn't that the only one he got? Was
Yep.
he actually
And I don't have that wrote down because we did that
in
here at the meeting.
I want to
have
say
that?
it come in under than what we thought.
That was 185, I'm thinking, wasn't
Yeah, I'd have to go back to the minutes, but.
Because, the one deal I was pushing for, I brought to Rick's attention to close the northeast windows that froze up pipes. We had $7,500 on that. And then, of course, he had generators, but,
So that's on top of the 185.
yeah,
The courthouse has got generators now.
it has, but it's not big enough to run the courthouse.
So how much was the generator?
I'm looking to see when you come in here. Rick brought the bids in here.
Haley's was 40 to 60,000.
Another 140.
Well, it depends on different things. I think there is, Lex and I found out there is like a maintenance fee too for some here, so. Okay, then. Oh, that's clock. You guys also used some of that money for clock tower repairs too.
Yes, we did.
So we did approve a resolution for the ARPA funds back in May.
Clock tower was something like 50, 60,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just did the deposit so far. And then you purchased the EMA truck with it. Remember, for Scott Hansen?
Yeah.
That was 62,294.
62.
You guys did the handwritten claim, so that comes to the board.
Mm-hmm.
And you had 700 some thousand, we sent
Yep, for the radio project already.
you still should have a lot left. I mean, I bet we got rid of close to $1 million.
Oh, right, but I'm still wanna
But I have to look.
vouch for
Oh, we got
this
rid of
fiscal
already?
year, yeah.
We spent that much?
Yeah, but with the 700,000, yes. 1.4.
That's 700,000.
Yeah, we went to the radio project already.
Oh,
So that fund balance.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at. Was that gonna be?
1.4 already?
Including the 700,000. Is that kind of like
Here, I'll give you a
It did,
cash report. Give me a
Yeah,
second,
would
I'll
you?
run it. Yep.
but I didn't know if that was out of the 2 million that we allocated for it or over.
Oh, right. I
I hope that was out of the 2 million.
It was only the 2 million. We haven't got the second half deposit yet.
Well, no. That deposit that we put on the radio, the 700, okay, is that going to be part of the 2 million that's been allocated?
Okay.
Okay, for the radios, okay.
2 plus the 5.2 that was borrowed.
Well, yes, I understand, I'm talking ARPA funds only, yeah, okay. But I'm just looking at the rest of that 2.9, we haven't got it, how it's being spent.
So 705,000. If you subtract the 700 for the radio tower.
We had looked at doing
We have
that,
roughly 1.6 million left in there right now, in our fund.
That's what I thought, we didn't spend that much.
we had looked at doing that
So, give me a.
copying and stuff.
Just
Oh, yeah.
The,
Oh, you
Feel
feel
what,
like.
Ron?
we had looked,
Yeah.
I've got tons of records.
On what I-
Okay,
I'll run you a
We had
detailed report on
looked
that.
at going
Only
through
be
this
about 4 or
company and
5.
doing that.
Right, I'll run you a detailed report.
We got the
The
tower.
maintenance fee just kills you.
okay, so have you got an estimate on that?
Oh,
We've had some of her bills
so
come
big I
through.
forgot about it.
$900.
How much?
$900.
Massive.
900,000?
$900.
Oh.
Cause then you have to
You
pay,
did
once you put it in,
gutters
they
and
manage it, you pay them a yearly fee on top.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, we haven't
The
spent.
the yearly fee was just, I thought,
Because I was waiting,
yeah,
bigger
I mean, it was
projects.
like 40 or
You
50,000.
want me to email you the detail versus
But
budget?
I can't support that out of my budget anywhere.
sure.
Yeah.
That's why I said last week we should have a meeting.
So I've kinda just
Busy time.
I
put
know,
it on the back burner.
you're not there, you.
I just think that's too much
Right,
money.
I'm gonna have
Really?
Cause that's gonna be
I haven't
basically
missed one
forever.
yet either. Alright.
And I'm not sure we'd ever use it much. I think Haley did more research on it and looked at, cause all I've looked at so far is one place
What are you talking about?
for the records
Shannon?
maintenance.
We've gotten at least 4 different people. But I
I'd say
think we've
that-
got it narrowed down to which one we like. And I,
Which one do you like?
not caught, the other one.
They were, their COTS, that's who came and looked ours all over. Their yearly maintenance fee,
Yeah, it was really high.
I thought, well, we can't support that at year after year. There's
We're
no
leaning
way.
towards ARCA, I believe, ARCA search.
The
Cause he was like 40 or
numbers
50,000
Tracy
a
did
year.
rattle off, including
We can't make that work.
clock tower, if we paid for the whole thing, is about an $800,000 figure that you've rattled off there. And that's out of 2.9
Right.
that has not been
Right,
set aside
Right.
for, I mean, that too was for the towers, or the radio project.
We've already spent like 43 for the wiring project so far, 43 grand. So
43 grand on what wiring project?
the courthouse
Courthouse.
wiring.
Okay, was that part of
man,
VIT? Okay, but that was 82.
Yep. So then we did Tyson's for Shelby was 900 and some. And then the gutters at the transportation building. So that's current fiscal year. I'll run the whole fiscal year because this is just this year.
If there's funds left from the ARPA balance or fund balance, can we put that over onto the debt retirement of that bond?
Yeah.
Okay,
You just have, because we have until 2025 to spend it. If
Yeah.
you don't spend the 4.9, we have to give it back to them.
yeah, well, they gotta have, we know that.
see, that's where I wanted the change orders. I'm hoping, you know what I mean, we get,
I know.
that's what I'm shooting for. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm the one been the stick in the mud in the meetings. You can ask that Glenn Reynolds.
Well, we
Sure.
asked that.
Still don't like the way they
Originally,
did
change orders too.
How's that?
I don't like the way they did that.
Because I remember specifically asking about the change orders.
I look at it as due diligence. They say it was an estimate. It's hard to do an estimate without doing your due diligence.
Well, how many weeks has it been since we asked for the individual itemized,
Well over a month.
and I still ain't got it, you haven't got it, I don't think. I missed last time's meeting, I had the funeral going on, so I missed that one, that's when I called Scott and you that afternoon or evening, found out what happened, which wasn't much.
No.
We updated our website too, remember that,
Oh,
25,000. Transportation, courthouse, clock, conservation parking lot, supplies, I mean, that's pretty much so far what we've spent, 703, the true north or whatever, so, very down.
703 for the tower.
Yeah, that's what we put out so far for that.
Oh, for the civils. Sure.
Yeah,
What was that?
705, sorry,
What was it?
705, 332, 42.
What was the EMA truck?
62,594.
Transportation with eastbound, that was like almost 7,000.
Yep.
Right?
That was 7,037.50. And the clock tower so far was 19,500.
Wasn't that bid? 50,000?
It was just short of 60.
Was it that high?
But did we agree to pay all of it with that money?
I don't remember.
I don't think we did.
No, because don't they have some money left in the fund to keep it running?
I don't know how
This was
much.
like $3,800.
Oh, that's all it was?
Yeah, I didn't think there was much there.
Okay.
So it's gonna have to come out of something. But,
Okay.
you know, getting a bid or a quote for, that she's looking at, that doesn't mean we're
Moving forward with it until you have the funds.
obligating it. You know, I'm just a little concerned on, you know, doing a lot of projects when we've got 5.2 million on a bond issue. That, you know, if we use as much of that ARPA funds as possible, it would alleviate some strain on the tax dollars.
Because originally, that was, it was so limited on what we could spend it on. That's why we could only allocate so much towards the civils. But then we
Originally,
claimed,
Yeah.
lost income, so it opened it up.
so that's my concerns, and things like the courthouse, getting the boiler, and getting the generator, getting that windows area closed up so it doesn't freeze, you know, those pipes. I mean, those are all important things. I understand, you know, getting a lot of these records onto, you know, the computer database. You know, I understand all that stuff. I understand, you know, spend money at Hannah Lake, which has a big, you know, much larger participation down there. So, and the fact that, you know, Wildcat is 17th in the world for Frisbee golf is pretty cool. 217, almost 218,000 for a shower house with 20 campsites. So, sorry. It's just just my feelings of, you know, I think you probably have some priorities there, and I'm just questioning priorities with the ARPA funds. So, and tax dollars are tax dollars, whether it's for the radios or for, you know, doing this, but, you know,
But it would be a shelter also for the campers, correct?
Storm shelter.
Storm shelter and all that.
And Hannon and Wildcat are both heavily used, for sure. And And I think,
As is Rogers,
Yeah.
thank goodness you get some good parks.
yeah, no, I mean, I guess you could actually argue we have far more use than if we do in Benton City than people realize too. So I would say all 6 of our campgrounds get more use than people would realize. But
So you definitely do, and you don't have this, do you? Septic and well, and
no, so we don't, that's another thing that we looked at, and that's another reason that Wildcat makes the most sense, given location, park use, recreation, quality of life, health. I mean, like, it's a huge,
how many campsites do you definitely do?
9.
Okay.
Yeah, operational right now 8, but 9. And then Benton City has 10, and then Wildcat has 24.
24, not 20.
24, plus primitive sites on top of that. And then I would say, without lying to you, probably hundreds of people every weekend on average, just for day use. But the main thing, I guess, is putting money towards conservation and our infrastructure for conservation is a win for Benton County as a whole, because it makes absolute sense to create a location that people want to go. And especially with Urbana growing, having that resource there, it makes a lot of sense. And it's just kind of, again, I understand power is important. Really, if you look at our projects, they're all very equally important, but on different aspects of our lives. Safety versus quality versus, it's just kind of all over. And I think that's why conservation generally gets kind of tucked into the rug, because it's a park, why do you need it? But maybe I should see, does Myra have counters?
I think he does, like, for traffic.
Yeah, maybe I could, just do a year. We don't have time to do it because we need to get moving on this project, but to show you how much park use we really get in some of these, it'd be really fun to see what our campgrounds get in the summer. It wouldn't be really fair to do it right now with state parents school starting. We're kind of slow.
We're winding down the season rather than cranking.
And we'll probably amp up a little bit in September, we usually do, and then it'll just plummet again. Yeah, Labor Day and like the week or two after, we have decent camping, but then. Yeah, so I think, I don't know, to see, those kids fishing for the first time and, camping for the first time, having their first s'mores, just like all those things that happen in our parks that people really underappreciate. And then there's a huge discount now. Cell phones and screen time and people literally going insane, being trapped inside because, you don't have the resources out there. And having something as simple as a shower house could make a family that would never go somewhere go there. Or having that availability just cleaner, and it makes a lot of sense for the community of Benton County, and I would love to get some counters, so I think that would be really nice. Next season, if I can, I'll talk to them. Even just to have that data for coming years, do it every so many years, do some counts. But obviously, I'm very passionate about parks and recreation.
But like you said, what she's looking for, the nod or whatever, to go ahead with this. Sure.
Yeah, well, we already talked on the ARPA, but then I felt like it's weird because ARPA says yes, but then you guys are the ones that technically sign off.
Yeah.
So.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be a slap face or anything. It's not what I'm after here.
And I'm not the only person here. There's 3 of us.
Yeah.
So.
You asked the question, that's why I was directing it at you. And Tracy has to listen to me once a month like this all the time,
It's
so.
just one of those things where we're trying to, conserve the taxpayer dollars as much as possible because of that 5.2 bond that we gotta pay back.
transportation wants to cement driveways, right?
I heard the contractor was cheap.
You heard that, huh?
That's what I heard too.
I heard they're also trying to get that contractor to work down the cannon.
Kill yourself, it's not worth that.
That's what I said. We're fun to work with.
I'm giving you the nod, go ahead with the bathroom.
Head towards
I don't
bidding
know
process.
if you wanna give her a nod or no, or
It's not a vote, so it doesn't, it's just more of a approval or not approval. I'll take a shrug as a yes too. Ask my husband.
Well, Gary, you've been kind of silent here.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm
What are you
looking
gonna
at
do?
Tracy and,
Yeah,
You just shrug.
yeah.
I saw it.
There's I don't get up to the north end of the county.
The shop down, yeah, that's a high priority too, which we're already looking forward to moving on that, so yes. It's gonna just be a lot at once and things, like I have knowing my luck, Wildcat Canyon will happen at the same exact time.
what I was looking at is,
It'll just be so much.
we're rattling off, numbers here. The highest one, on what you quoted, 219 for the reporter getting her records.
And that is an important job because
I
it's
get that.
attention for all
I
our
get that.
records. For sure.
And so that is the highest priced item on your list. It's even higher than the courthouse boiler. Okay, but she's coming here with an $800,000 request, total request. And it's like, holy cow, that's as much as all these put together.
Yes.
I know.
that's her wish, that's her wish list. I know, I'm not saying we're granting.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I'm sure we're gonna grant, 250 to get annotated. Which would you rather have?
Both.
No, I didn't ask that. Which would you rather have?
Both. I'm not gonna change my answer on that one. It's
So
absolutely both.
if I was to decide,
I
it
think
would
we're
be
both.
Cameron.
Yeah, ideally.
Yeah, that's fine.
And somebody's very nice, property taxes, $800.
Yeah.
City of Benton.
And part of the reason too, when ARPA was originally met last September, was it? They were talking about what the funding could be used for, and 90% of it was essentially our department, and other departments couldn't even tap into it yet. And
Yeah.
that's part of the reason that,
Basically set up as taxpayer relief, correct?
yes. And like
And for
the,
COVID, it's
it was
basically still
COVID.
based on COVID.
Sure.
And so then getting flushing toilets and getting public outside is priority, and so that's why our department.
Well, you've got one nod, you're looking for a second one. You're not getting it from me, okay?
Right, I got a shrug from you.
No, you get shrugged from him.
Okay,
So that's where I'm
okay.
I think we gotta move a little. I think we gotta move a little slow on this. Because of all everything's going out, it just seems like lately. With all the building at hand, we've got boiler in the courthouse. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things that
I know.
What's some of your figures again, Rick? Conservation, I got that. Furnace,
Well, you had 185 for the courthouse.
yep.
Boiler. 7,500 was for the windows. I don't have the generator there.
Yep.
You have 46,000 for the county attorney for updates of website or whatever it was.
Yep.
What would we get? $82,000 for IT.
Well, going on.
I don't know. You get 219 for the recorder, you know, to condense all that village record. You add up to 140 for the auditor.
Oh, here, let me look.
Auditor. You don't wanna,
Same thing, Dick. Is it? Yes, it's for, taking the records, which are in books, taking photocopies of them, putting them on computers.
okay.
Yeah, for
So like
files.
the real estate records of the county, the history goes back to 1800. We have supervisor minutes to go back.
EMA, you've got the pickup, which was 62. You've got,
Yeah, but I just want the ones that are, don't count the ones that we already used or
Oh, that we have to come yet, yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
We haven't purchased.
Right.
okay,
So
well,
I'm looking
you
at
got the remainder of the clock tower.
300,
That's gotta come from something. That was
400, 600, 850,000. You got 850,000 right now left on the wish list. And you got how much in that fund right now? 1
5 left so far, but we're gonna still get the other half deposit this
Yeah,
year,
but
so.
1.5, so that would still leave you,
yeah, but her wish list is 800.
doesn't mean I'm gonna grab her, have any.
Well, that's exactly right. That's the point of getting at.
Yeah,
This is her first request.
yeah,
Which is more important out of that 800?
I agree, but that's why I said she needs to start somewhere, that's why I thought, let her start with that.
We'll start someplace,
Yeah.
but that don't mean I'm gonna
No, I agree.
go with it.
Right,
If Hammond Lake is 250, that makes more sense to me. I'm glad I'm not on that committee. So,
okay. We got somebody new that come in.
I got a question. I've been out in landfill 3 times, okay? Why do we recycle when you push all the garbage out in the landfill?
Why do we recycle?
Cardboard, paper, cans, bottles, they all go out in the landfill. Why do we recycle? And why is my garbage bill $35 a month for 6 cans?
that's a city question. Because you're billed through the city.
But they said your county bills to you guys,
Usually the
for-
we have that.
the landfill.
On the landfill charges.
That's $20 a month.
So,
And the county pays their wages,
how much is the landfill?
$19.95 a month.
Landfill's on its own,
How can you guys pay the wages?
because
We don't pay the landfill employees.
Who does?
They're
They're
their
their
own
own
entity.
entity now.
Landfill pays wages.
We give them so much per capita to run the landfill, and then what they budget with that is on them.
You know, the other cities don't pay $20 a month. Why does Benton pay $20 a month? Is that for the city? They didn't want to
That's a
send it over to
city
you
charge.
guys. Huh?
That's a city charge.
Well, you know, you pay the same amount, right?
You bet. I'm paying it on property I don't even have garbage picked up.
Yeah. And my property tax went up $800 a month. Why? Or $800 a year. Because I don't let that guy walk in my house and look through it.
All the property taxes have gone up because they went
$800
revalued the residential. Okay, just
Yeah.
imagine, it's gone up tremendously over the years, without a doubt. This is what we're even talking about now.
Yeah, they said they haven't raised it, or, they haven't raised it for the last 7 years. Yeah, they have. My property tax goes up every year.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys know what
an
to do.
assessor, that's his department.
I talked to him a little bit ago. He's gonna sit me over here and talk to you guys.
Did he show you the pie chart on Beacon too to look at as a whole, where your tax dollars are going? It's not just to the county or city,
Yeah.
going to the schools,
Yeah.
is the ag extension, the E911, all
Then
those
I
different.
asked him about the landfill. Why do we recycle when you push all the garbage out in the landfill? All we paying for recycling when we don't have to. Because they're putting it out in the landfill. If you don't believe me, watching that garbage truck go in there and pushes it out. It all goes out. And when we first started waste management, I didn't know we had Taco Bell in Benton County. Because they pushed the whole truckload of Taco Bell stuff out. Waste management did. I know I'm asking them about it, and they said, well, we're just starting, and there ain't much we can do about it. And he said, well, that's what waste management does, that's why they got so much money.
If they charge differently for out of county, is whatever they
They
charge.
didn't charge them nothing.
You should have like activities for them.
The way the policy is right now, the garbage has to come from Benton County. Or the waste has to come from Benton County. You cannot take Lynn County, Tama County, no other county. You know, and I'm sure
They do.
some of it slips by that you don't, you know what I mean? How can you prove where it actually originated from? But as for like, tearing down a house, I see they're tearing down a building over here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's pretty easy way to trace that.
yeah.
But I mean, if
Where's all in Briscoe to? Landfill? Who paid for that?
bury them,
On them? That's $60 a ton?
yep.
Oh, that's a lot of tonnage. They ain't got that kind of money. I don't know how they pay for it. I know the city got on them, if they clean it up, it would cost us $700 a day until they tear it down. That's why the city didn't want it, that's why they got it so cheap.
See, that's like Rick said, that's the city, that's
Yeah.
sitting up here,
Yeah.
that's, don't have nothing to do with us.
Yeah, that's the city council.
Well, one thing I'm asking is why are they pushing recyclable stuff out the landfill when when we pay for recyclable?
See, I'm on the board, you know, with
The city?
no.
He's on the land.
Are you?
I've been on it ever since it got broken away from the county. I've been on it from day one.
Okay.
Uh,
I think I've been out there before.
yeah,
Now, our town's got recycling.
every town does.
But they push it out in the landfill, they don't take it to recycle.
Well, they do take it to Cedar Rapids, but see, the whole thing that stems down to me is recycling. When they got going on it, recycling, they can make money on it. You can sell the paper, the cardboard, the plastic, the glass, the tin.
Yeah,
Now all of a sudden, boom, market's gone.
yeah,
Now it costs money to recycle.
yeah.
Okay, the deal is, it took how many years for us to get to recycle things? The whole deal is now, you know, yeah, they're not making any money on this recycling, but if we up and say, nope, that's it, just take it to the landfill, get rid of it, and if the price does ever come back up, which I'm sure it's going to, it's gonna be hard to get people to go back to recycling again.
Yeah.
So now it's better off, you
So,
know,
when I ran my garbage business, they had a big hole. And 6 years, that thing was full, and that could have lasted 10 or 12 years. The garbage tripled. And they went to recycling. How would it triple when they went to recycling?
well, see, like right now, we have a lot of houses on Highway 30
Yeah.
for the 4-lane. All that stuff come down there, they didn't burn anything, you know, and then it comes to the trees, the ratio that we had. There again, the ratio, how much, you know, from south of Benton all the way to Blairstown, we all got mangled on that.
Why did they log them out? A lot of the trees, the old trees, make money out of it. Instead of, went down there,
I don't know if the trees are going into the
landfill.
Dick, it sounds like what you really need to do is go to a city council meeting with some of these questions
Okay,
and attend a landfill meeting, because they are open to the public.
okay. They have one tonight, don't they? I think so.
Which one?
See?
Well, the city's on, I think Thursdays.
Thursday?
Yeah,
No.
All right.
yeah, and they could give you that schedule at City Hall, of course.
Yeah. I ain't wanna do that.
Landfills. I'll tell you here in a minute.
But go down there when their trucks dump and look at their garbage. Go down there in that hole. When they dump their garbage, look what they push out. You will not believe what they push out.
Oh, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And they come around, they pick up, I believe, with a separate truck.
I know they do, but they push it out there.
They all
So
do
now
the
there's
same
recycling, got two sides there, one for recycling, one for garbage. And they raise that up, they push both of them out, not just the one side, they push recycle out and the garbage too.
That I don't know.
Yeah. Look at that white truck, that big new white truck. Watch them down.
So all the recyclables are going to the landfill?
Well, they're still in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, but just look, I'm telling you, I'm not lying, I'm just
If it's a
telling you.
contaminated load, do they have to take it to the landfill?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
Well,
too
if it's
much.
contaminated water
Yeah.
gets rejected, then this comes back.
Yeah.
But then again, how can you tell you got a
Unless
contaminated
you-
load until you dump it?
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah,
Don't some of them have cameras when they dump, so they can see what they're dumping?
Most of the time, it's by site down in Cedar Rapids.
yeah, they got cans, they dump your cans, they don't dump nothing else anymore.
And
And I'm
they
saying,
got a
yeah,
big conveyor down there, if you ever been down there to see that.
down there,
It's fast.
my son used to work there.
Benton County don't work.
No?
So that's what I'd recommend, Dick, is that you would go to one of those, or both of those meetings,
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna,
ask those questions.
yeah,
No.
I want to run down there and talk to them. And I think our guards bill, they used to complain, we charge them $6 a month.
And he used to bill the homeowner.
Mhm. Now the city built the whole town, and they're making, I know they don't pay JE or whatever it is, $15 a month, I know they don't pay him that.
So that's.
And I don't think, and as far as I know, Salisbury, they pay $8 a month for the county landfill, I'm telling you, what do we pay? $19.95 a month for the landfill.
That's a city.
Okay, all right, they sent me down here, talk to you guys about it.
Yeah. So they sent you the wrong place because it's actually a landfill question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they probably didn't listen to my mouth, that's probably.
As for the landfill, though, since we took over the commission, that we have lowered the per capita.
Yeah?
Yeah, we have knocked that down 4 times now.
You haven't seen it go down on the city end though, have you?
Huh,
Okay.
goes up.
Okay, well, there you go.
The per capita went down per household. 4 times we done that.
And they said their squad cars are worn out and all that. Cedar Rapids still got some demo Impalas. And they're back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to fix them up a little bit, put a motor in it, and buy a new $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle.
I'm on my plane, but I don't want to.
I put more in my pickup than $6,500.
Yeah. And then.
It wasn't no $40,000, $50,000.
Sure.
Okay,
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Sorry for wasting you guys' time.
Wasn't a waste of time, Dick.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?